right account, right?
We're on the right account, yeah. I'm sure. I think we're right on the right account. And we're live, of course. Um, so let's cook. Okay. You sure all the voice and everything's working?
Yeah, just gotta double check, bro.
Well,
Nice. All right.
is everyone's voice working?
Yes.
We're
All right
live,
then.
boys. We're live. Let's go.
All right, let's run it, bro. All right, boys, ladies, and gentlemen, welcome back to the FPL Roundtable podcast with my bros, FPL Cayman and FPL Stark. So it's been a while. I think we missed one of the game weeks because it was a midweek. And in the meantime, FPL's actually dropped a bomb on us and they revealed the assistant manager chip. And what better way to start the podcast than to just break it down? K-Man, take it away.
Thank you, Kanji, bro. Hope you're doing well. First of all, how you doing? You okay?
Amazing, bro. Amazing, bro. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, man. Stark, how have you been? It's been a minute.
I'm good, man. I'm good. Different settings today in Scotland.
Yeah. How's it over there? Very cold? Oh,
I'm wearing a jacket, mate, in the living room. It's cold.
it's mad cold. Yeah, I'm wearing a t-shirt, so that explains it. I'm in London, so you're in Scotland. Makes sense. And how's it over there for you, Kanji, in Canada?
Yeah, bro. Toronto's crazy, man. The weather is terrible, but we're making do.
Fair enough. So just to get into the topic, guys, as Kanji mentioned, we got a bombshell just dropped on us today, about like a couple hours ago. FPL did announce that they're going to, the mystery chip is essentially an assistant manager chip. So what that is we have a breakdown here just to summarize it for you, because I know a lot of people have a lot of questions about it, how it impacts their strategy, how does the chip work, X, Y, and Z. So just to start off with, it's essentially a system manager chip. It's basically a 16th player. You normally have 15 player within your FPL team, but this chip enables you to have, I guess, 16 players, and essentially you play um, for 3 game weeks. And as it says here, you choose one of the managers to start off when you activate your chip. You choose one manager. That'll be for free. But obviously, for you have that manager for 3 weeks. But if you choose to take that manager out, you can do so. But that will obviously cost you money. Plus, it will also cost you a free transfer that you have, so which is precious to us this season. And that also explains why they wanted to, give us a rollover transfer this season, and that way, we could utilize this chip. It made sense. Now, when you can use it, you can use this chip in Game Week 24. And then obviously the price range for the managers are between 0.5 to 1.5 million. So we could assume the likes of Liverpool and City, like Onslaught and Pep, would be around 1.5 mil. Same with potentially Arteta. But obviously, like the lower league teams such as Everton, Dash might be 0.5 million. Just something to keep in mind when you're planning to use this chip and which managers you are targeting. And how you earn points is essentially you get 6 points for a win, and 3 points for a draw, and extra 1 point are awarded for goals scored, and 2 points for clean sheets. However, one caveat is you do get bonus points. If you are getting a manager from a, say, I don't know, a mid-table team, and say for example they're ranked 5 or more places higher, um, they score 10 plus points. So, for example, if United is right now in 13th and they play versus, say for example, Chelsea, who are fourth right now, and if United beat them, and you have that manager in your team, you will essentially get 16 points. Whereas if you were to have an onslaught, you would just get, I guess, 6 plus 2 for clean sheet, 8 points. So there's a huge difference, 16 and 8. And then obviously for a draw, you get 8 points. And so 5 points for draw plus the clean sheet is 3 points, so 8 points. So there's a lot of benefit in going for underdog as well as going for a safer pick. But at the same time, that's the decision that you gotta make. There are a couple of rules though that does apply. For example, it does restrict you from tripling up on a particular team. Say for example, you already have a double Liverpool, you can't triple up on the Liverpool assets because then you won't be able to get onslaught, for example. And on the other hand, if you wanted to say transfer out onslaught after 1 or 2 game weeks, and you want to go to Arteta, but you already are tripled up on Arsenal, you can't do that. You have to go somewhere where you don't have a triple assets for. And another thing is that once you use your chip and it's gone for after 3 game weeks, you get your money back, so you have to reinvest that money. So it takes transfers to use the, I guess, move the managers around, as well as transfers to reinvest that money. Additionally, you also can't use any other chip once you activate the assistant manager chip for 3 game weeks, which is a big negative to that chip. Although it gives you extra points, because that would restrict you from using the chips like free hit or triple captain.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's about it. That summarizes it, unless I missed something, boys.
No, I think you're good. I think we move on to the next slide. I think just want to hear like what are your initial thoughts like on the chip? Do you have any things that sort of come to mind just based on the rules?
Yeah, just look at the rules. I've got two strategy for us here. Um, I mean, for people that have already used the triple captain this season, I'm sure that's majority of the game. Like over 50% of the game already use the triple captain. So I'm sure there'll be two spectrum here. I fall in the category of the people that already use the triple captain. So for example, for myself, I'll be in chip strategy 2. And then obviously for those who have the triple captain, they'll most likely be in chip strategy 1. But again, that could differ. Some people might be a bit more unique and they might play around with it and they might look for other unique opportunities, such as in single game weeks. You could, of course, use the um, system manager chip. However, we all know that how valuable it is when using a double game week, because you essentially get 4 games compared to just using
Mm-hmm.
in a single game, you get 3 games. So here I have two strategy essentially for people with triple captain. You are cutting game week 30, you've restructured your team and whatnot, and then you activate the system manager chip from game week 31 to 33, and that allows you to have a double game week in game week 33. So you get 4 game weeks instead of a 3 in a single game week, and then you free hit in a blank game week 34. Just to caveat, boys, this is all predicted from Ben Krillin's projected blanks as well as double, and he's quite reliable. He's been doing this for a long time. That's where we got this predicted blank and double from. Obviously, things can change. You could get more double game weeks, we could get more blanks and whatnot. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is not set in stone, but this is just early planning and some early thoughts. So just to go back to my point in regards to the new free hit, obviously in blank game week, some of us might not prefer that. Some of us do, like to use our free hit within a double game week. However, in this strategy, it may force you to use it in a blank game week. I'm sure there are other ways you could, strategize and look for plans to use all your chips. But again, depending on teams and whatnot. And then use a triple captain on double game week 25, which is the Liverpool game that got, postponed last week. So you could just
Mm-hmm.
captain Salah there, which is a no-brainer. On the other hand, with my side of the things, I've already used a triple captain. If I wanted to get an edge or whatnot, I'd probably want to use the system manager chip in double game week 25. So I'll start with Onslaught as fast for free, and I'll have him for the double game week, which will most likely be either Everton and Wolves. And that's basically two, I think, guaranteed wins. So I'm just locking my points there. And then at the same time, I also get to use my transfers to say move to a Arteta or even maybe a Maresca in game week 26 and 27. In game week 27,
Mm-hmm.
Maresca plays Southampton. So that's the way I'm looking at it for my chip strategy, because I already use my triple captain, and then I would be use the
Yeah.
free hit in a double game week 33 and deaden my team in game week 34, which I normally do in a blank game week, and walk out in
Mm-hmm.
35 to prepare my team for a bench boost in 36. Just your thoughts on this, boys, if you want to share anything.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is that like different people's strategies will change. I think it's important just to highlight like the different weeks that are really important, right? Game week 36, I think, is like a non-negotiable for like the bench boost where you'll have like the most teams doubling. So if you just isolate for game week 36 and say, hey, I'm gonna lock that in as my bench boost and not worry about it, you only have 4 more weeks to really keep in mind, given that there's supposed to be the last double game weeks this season, right? So we have the Liverpool one. And by the way, if you're not following El Bobble on Twitter, this is like an Everton like account. They actually are. I think they're an ITK. They have very reliable sources within Everton. I remember they posted about the double game like last season, and they were correct about it. So if you're following them on Blue Sky or on Twitter, just make sure you're following El Bobble, so you'll be able to get an early update on the Liverpool and Everton game three postponed in the future. We're assuming it's in 24 or 25, right? So like it's just important to keep in mind 24, 25 is the double, 33 is supposed to be the double, and 36 is supposed to be the double, with the blank from the games that are blanking in 34 likely to go in 36. The games that are likely going to blank in 29 are going to go into 33. So you sort of have to keep that in your mind and sort of build your plan on that. I think your strategy makes a lot of sense. The only thing that'll really switch is whether or not you dead end into 34 or and then wildcard out of it. So that way you only have a 1 week gap between your wildcard and the bench boost. Or if you decide to like wildcard in 30 and then set your team up for the next 7, 8 weeks and then just free hit in one of the blank weeks and then try to survive in one of the other blank weeks. So I think that's kind of where I think strategies will kind of differ. But other than that, I think the strategy makes sense. What do you think, Star?
Yeah, the strategies are starting to align. It's difficult to lock anything in right now because you don't know which teams are doubling, which teams are blanking completely yet. It's not conclusive. Uh, I wanted to just ask you guys, what's your thoughts on the chip? Do you like it? Yay or nay?
Mm. Oh, I thought K-Man was gonna go. Yo, honestly, I like the fact they're trying to change things up. Like, I like the idea of it. I didn't even imagine anything like this. I was thinking it was gonna be the limitless chip that was gonna come back. This is really creative. I'm kind of hoping to, like, listen, my rank is horrendous. Like, I'm sitting at like 2.5 million, and we're in game week 15 now. So I need to go out there and take some risks. If I can go and try to predict where I think an underdog will try to win, that's probably my best strategy. So I'm not gonna look to try to gain like 20 points from this chip. I'm really gonna try to gain like 40 points from it, or just sort of go down in flames. That's kind of what my mindset is gonna be towards this. I'm also thinking that there's kind of a couple of things that come to mind. One, like, are there teams that are going to have some more difficult fixtures between, maybe like 19 to 25, where it's like, okay, then that means their fixtures from game week 26 to 38 are going to be good. And those are teams that we can rely on to finish at the top of the table. So that'll give you a team that's an underdog because they're lower in the table, but they're not really a true underdog, right? So that's something I'm keeping an eye on. Another thing would be like the likes of Man United and Spurs. Tracking them is going to be really important for me because I think Man United and Spurs are the most likely big teams to prioritize Europa League to try to win a trophy because they won't be able to do it in the Prem. So if their main 11 is going to be in the Europa League competition, then that's the type of team that I would want to target using my underdog teams. So that's kind of the way that I'm thinking about it. Those are just my initial thoughts.
So I don't. I get the whole point of the underdog, but considering you get 6 points for a win and you get 1 point for a goal, if a team like Chelsea batters Southampton 5-0, you're gonna get what 10 point, 11 points, clean sheet, 13 points. So if an underdog somehow does beat like I say a Newcastle, Chelsea, or United, you're gonna get 10 points. So it's not that much of a difference. I don't think the risk is actually worth it personally,
Mm,
because
okay.
teams like Southampton, Leicester, Ipswich, I think they're just too shit. I don't
Yeah.
see them ever beating Chelsea.
uh, I think so. Stock. Here's the bit of the this chip. I think people that love the high risk, they'll probably back someone like a Sean Dyche towards the end of the season because they're going to be in relegation battle, and he would most likely park the bus and try to get a result out versus the likes of United and Spurs and whatnot. So obviously that depends on your risk appetite and whatnot. But as you said, you raised a very good point, Stark, which you said that you want to go for the proven managers on teams, and even though if the lower table team does beat, say for example, a United or a Spurs, it still doesn't basically the risk might not be worth it because say for example I have a Mereshka who love to score goals, Chelsea, they can just make up that points just by scoring 5 goals versus Southampton, for example, with my
Yeah,
first,
I'm seeing in the
yeah.
chat. I'm seeing in the chat that it's 16 points, not 10. So it's like it's an extra 10 plus the 6.
Yeah,
So it's
it's extra 10,
16
yeah.
points.
So
Yeah,
just to go
okay.
back on the rules, so you earn extra 10 points. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess Stark, you're basically feeling like it's not worth risking it because the 10% chance of getting that underdog win is just not worth the reward, right?
No, some people will think it is, and obviously rightly so. It's a big risk to take. It adds an element of fun, and the game's all about fun and ultimately doing your own analysis, doing something that a lot of people think may be crazy, and when it pays off, that dopamine rush, uh, that sense of reward for like being quite outlandish and it paying off feels good. So I can imagine a lot of managers will enjoy this chip. I think it's good personally. I don't know why people are being so negative. It's a it's a good addition to the game personally. I think.
Yeah,
I, I,
100%. And do you remember at the end of last season, there was like Crystal Palace that like turned the corner and they became like the hottest team in the league? So like imagine like when you see like two or three wins from like a team like that, probably lower in the table. I mean, even for example, right now, Crystal Palace are like 17th. Like they're starting to find some form. Like let's say by the time we get to game week 24, 25, they have some good fixtures. Like maybe we could use it on them. Just an example. Like it's gonna be like really interesting to see how people use this chip. And keep in mind that like the triple up rule that Cayman mentioned earlier. Like I want to have triple Arsenal on my team the entire season. Like I think they're very well priced. And given the fact that Liverpool have like a double game week in 25, they're probably going to advance in the cup because they're playing Southampton in the quarterfinal. They only need to have one win in the semifinal. They're through in the final. They'll blank there again. So I'm kind of seeing myself where like I need to lock in three Liverpool, and I also want to lock in three Arsenal because I'm just a big Liverpool and Arsenal fan, and I think they're very good FPL picks and good teams to rely on. That like I can't go for an Arteta. I can't go for a slot. Like I need to prioritize using my manager somewhere else. So the three players plus manager rule is something to keep in mind. Also, if you go for the underdog, you're only spending point 0.5. If you go for like a big name manager like Maresca, there was one somebody posted in our group chat like Chelsea have Aston Villa, they have Southampton at home and then Leicester at home. That is probably my second choice, I think. I'm gonna have to research and try to find like later on like a good first choice. But I think those three as an example is something that would suit me really well too, because I don't have enough Chelsea in my team. I think I only have Palmer right now. So I just think it's going to be interesting to see like how different people manage it. But I think I'm going to go for an underdog for sure.
Yeah, I just want to bring up the chat quick on the topic of underdog. So, Peace Hammer Titan says hypothetically, an underdog team can walk away with a minimum of 54 points from 3 wins. So that's like an amazing swing, like in everyone's mini leagues. Like if you're trying to claw back, uh, like a little gap between you and number one. So yeah, it's going to be insane to be honest. Like, yeah, I think it's a great addition, and I think it can change a lot of things. I know it can be played like later on, but my immediate reaction was, okay, transfers are really important, and like creating a team where maybe sometimes the pick's a bit boring, and they might blank, once a week and then return once a week. But having players nailed is going to be important if you want to transfer managers and really target like a fixture. So yeah, you need to kind of definitely have a team with nailed assets.
Yeah, and like the manager switch, is it really worth using a transfer on? Like that's the thing I keep thinking to myself. Like we only get like 37 free transfers.
It is if
Like
you
is
can
it
get
worth
16
using one?
points. It's a move that can get you 16 points. So yeah, it's worth it.
And it might even get you more because it could be like a double game week.
But
So
here's the
that's the thing
thing
to
though.
really consider.
Here's the thing though. You don't need to transfer out the initial manager that you pick. Say for example, you pick a slot in Gaming 25. You don't necessarily need to take slot out. I mean, they can get result versus anyone, right? So
Yeah.
the way
Of
they're
course.
playing this season, um, so yeah, it just depends on when you use it. If you're using around game week 31 to, so for example, we looked at in the first strategy, chip strategy one. If you're using it from 31 to 33, most likely you're gonna pick one manager that has a run, good double slash a good run afterwards, or maybe you just pick you just use one transfer. Basically, you have one manager for double game week, and then the next manager that you pick, maybe they have two good fixtures just straight after that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
you could
Do you
also do
want to
that. So
move
it
on
might be
to
only one
the
transfer.
yeah? Do you want to move on to the next slide, which shows like the game week 26 to game week 33?
So
So
this is the
like,
obviously Ben Quillen's gone. Start Hanji.
no, you got it, bro. You got
No, you got it. You got it. Go on. I'm sure you looked at this already.
it. Yeah, no worries. So basically, this is just the guide that Ben Crellin's provided. It just sort of touches on the blank weeks as well as the weeks where there are postponements coming in. So the thing to really keep in mind are like why are there blank weeks, right? So for example, in game week 29, the blank week is caused from the final of the EFL Cup. So if there are teams that are going to get to the final, that's why they'll blank in 29, and the teams that'll blank in 34 will be because of the semifinals of the FA Cup. So he's just sort of just a little piece of information you just sort of have to understand. So as you absorb more FPL content, you'll get a better understanding. If you go to the next slide, it shows you the fixtures from game week 26 to 33. Now, to me, this is the ideal time to be jumping on like that assistant manager chip. The reason I feel this way is because we're supposed to have the double in 33, right? And the double in 25 is another time to potentially use that assistant manager chip, especially for those of you that don't have the triple captain. You already used it on Holland probably earlier in the season or Mohamed Salah, and now you're sitting here like, hey, I can use my assistant manager with the double. But listen, like Liverpool have a double. Like they're playing Everton and Wolves in that double game week potentially. or Everton and Bournemouth. Like I want triple Liverpool on my team. No, I'm not sure I'd want an assistant manager at that time, and I don't want to be using my assistant manager on Deitch unless you think there's going to be an upset. So that's why I think I'm not sure if many will use that assistant manager in the 24-25 double, but I can see a world where people do. Or I think majority will use it involving that game week 33. And so it's interesting because the teams that double in 33 are also going to likely blank in 29. So, for example, like something that really stands out to me is like, what if Wolves blank in 29? You get that Southampton game moved into the Man United game, and then it's like Wolves, if you use the assistant manager on like a Wolves team, you could get Ipswich in 31. You get Spurs, who are really like a Jekyll and Hyde team. They could be prioritizing the Europa League. And then you get Man United, who could also be prioritizing the Europa League. And then you get Southampton in the double game week. So that's kind of like my dream underdog scenario that I just sort of cooked up in my mind. But that's just like one example, I think, of like a team that could blank in 29, get the double in 33, and then you're looking to use your assistant manager there. You may not even own any Wolves players. So that's kind of one idea that I thought of. I'm sure there will be more. I'm like, there will be way more ideas that'll come up. But I think including that game week 33 in your 3 weeks when you're using your assistant manager chip will be really important.
I'm not a fan
Yeah.
of I'm not a fan of free hitting in a blank game week. I feel like there's not much upside there, and I think last season really highlighted this. I think I free hitted in 34 last week. I mean last season, and I got over 100 points, and a lot of engaged managers also got crazy scores. So it surprises me that so many people want to free hit in a blank game week as opposed to a double game week.
Mm. So the thing is like I think when you think about the assistant manager chip, you're basically like if there's a double game week, if you use your triple captain, you're getting like a 100% advantage to the triple captain because it's like 2 weeks, right? If I use my bench boost on a double game week, I'm getting like a 100% advantage type of thing there. So I feel like I want to prioritize my bench boost and my triple captain in a double if I can, which sort of puts like the game week 36 as the bench boost isolation. And it just relies on like the free hit and triple cap in the other weeks. So I think, like for example, for you, Stark, it's like you might be in a position where you can free hit in Liverpool's double game week in 24-25, bring in the three best Liverpool, the three best Everton. Like you can go for a differential, for example, like Pickford, and then you could use your free hit in one of them. You could use your triple captain in the other, and then bench boost in another one. I guess like it depends on like what chips you have left, but it's like the upside of free hitting in the blank is that you don't need to worry about that blank week. Like for example, like if I free hit in a week, for example, I don't think Man City are going to have any blank weeks this season. I don't think they'll double. So my free hit could include Holland in a way. So that's just sort of one thing. I don't know if I explained that
Right, yeah,
properly
but
yet, but
this is my point though. Like, if most managers are gonna have a low scoring game week, where is the upside in wasting a chip just to also have a poor game week? You could just you could just lose out on the field by 10 points, accept
yeah.
it, and then in a double game week, free hit like last year, get 130. People were getting 130 points with
Mhm.
Salah getting 6 points as the captain. Imagine if Salah just returned. You're looking at 160 points. I really
I
don't see the
remember.
upside in a blank game week for free hit. I think it's quite a powerful chip in that sense. But
I just think
my
there's so many tips to use, bro. Like if you think about it, like we have the assistant manager chip, we have the triple captain and the bench boost. Ideally, you'd want to use those in the double over the
I've
free
already
hit,
used
right?
my triple captain, and I had a successful game week 2 score. So I'm one chip down. So
Can I
maybe I'm looking at it
Mm.
differently.
can I add just to piggyback of what Kanji said? You would want to use all your chips in a double game week. With this strategy that I have, obviously, ideally, if things go according to the plan, as per predicted from Ben Crenney's data, I am using all my chips in a double game week, Kanji, aren't I?
Exactly.
No,
Exactly.
with the strategy two though, but with strategy one, you're not. With strategy one, you are sacrificing your free in a blind game week, whereas I am not making a big sacrifice. Again, there's a lot of hypothetical we're doing here. Is the fact that
Mm.
I'm saying I will know what the blank games are gonna be by game week. Say, for example, I don't know, 30 or 28. For sure, I would know. So I'll be able to roll my transfers, save them, and be able to plan for that blank game week to dead end my team there. And even if I don't have 10 players or 11 players, even if I can field 8 players, I'm more than happy
Yeah.
because that 3 or 4 other players that you're going to have, they're most likely from the likes of Wolves and the likes of West Ham. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care if you're gonna have, I don't know, like Wan-Bissaka as your defender. Like, I don't care if I don't have him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, I'm thinking, like, I just think the one thing to keep in mind with all of this is that, like, the pressure is high to bring in Liverpool assets. Like, there is immediate pressure because I think Liverpool are in an interesting position. They're going into the quarterfinal against Southampton in the, I think it's the FA Cup or one of the cups, whatever it's called. So they're probably going to beat them. Even the B team for Liverpool would beat Southampton. So we can assume Liverpool are going to go to the semifinal. They'll have one difficult game in the cup, and then they're going to be through. And that will mean that they have the double game week in 24, 25, and they'll have another double game week in the 33. So it's like you probably want to prioritize the Liverpool players like ASAP. Like get them in,
Hence,
get
I'm
the right
saying,
three in.
if the again, I'm saying hypothetically, if the game week 25 is rescheduled, double game for Liverpool, for me, it only makes sense to use my assistant manager chip on that week. That way, then I can triple up on any team, and I won't have that issue later down the line. And I could bring my
Yeah,
team with all the information. I can maximize all my chips in double game weeks. I don't have to use it in a blank game week just because I'm forced with this strategy. So I think those who actually use the triple captain kind of benefits here because this season we knew from to start the season there was an extra additional chips and we weren't going to get enough doubles to be able to use all our chips in double game weeks. However, those who have used the triple captain chip have the opportunity to use it and get it out of the way. And for Liverpool to have these two fixtures, by the way, I don't think they get this type of two fixtures in a double game week in 34 or 35 whenever they get the next
they
double.
don't. Yeah,
I don't think
they
they
get
do.
like Arsenal and Spurs,
Exactly.
something
So,
like
so
that. Yeah.
these are points that you have guaranteed locked, right? 6 plus 3 4 clean sheets plus 2 4 goals, like 11 points for 11 points each game. You get 22 points from these two games, considering if they keep it
Yeah.
clean, which we
Yeah,
expect them
but
to keep
why
it clean.
why would you want like one less player from Liverpool? Like I'm sure they're gonna pick up at least one clean. They'll probably score 5 goals in the double. Like
No,
why would you
but
want one less player in your team and go for a manager there?
game week 25 is not too far away though, Kanji.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But
It's like
and
what's 10
another
weeks
thing
away
is,
from now?
yeah, and another thing is, and December is gonna fly like this, right? January is gonna
Yeah.
come like this. The only like the thing is Arsenal triple up. Okay, I understand that they have good fixtures now, whatnot. Even Liverpool, I understand it. Even if you wanted to triple up on Liverpool, you have 10 weeks to be able to take one of the players out and bring AM in for game 25. It's not the end of the world for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You also have to keep in mind, like if you use your assistant manager, you need to have the money in your bank. That's the thing. Like if you want to get that Arne Slot assistant manager, you need to keep 1.5 in the bank, right?
You see, that's the
Which is
challenge that you
tough
can. Yeah,
because
that's the challenge you can say with my strategy of gaming 25 because I need to plan right now where I get the money from, and I kind of maybe I shouldn't have gone to where I went, but we'll get to that towards the end.
Yeah, I've had a thought.
Yeah,
I've had a thought on money, the money issue, and come to the realization that a lot of people have built a strong squad, which is obviously, I feel like FPL back in the day was a lot of 4.5. Like everyone had like a 4.5 striker on the bench or something. They did that never played, right? Whereas this season, a lot of people have like say Raul and JP and Rogers, and they're like kind of rotating them. Don't you think if you're gonna bench boost in 36 or 35, whenever it is, don't you think that's a long time to have to hold a strong bench?
mm,
Because you're going
it
to
is a long time.
wildcard. You're going to wildcard in game week 30, right? So in your game week 30 wildcard, you can make your wildcard then to have a strong bench. Don't you think there's a case to be made now that we should actually sacrifice one player on our bench and maybe attack the fixtures until game week 30?
Mm.
it's a
Yeah,
good point.
probably
I
the right way
think,
to do it.
yeah, that's a good point. I think that's why I don't have a fifth playing defender. Basically, I don't.
Mm.
I don't even have a really good fourth defending defender right now. And I think the reason why I was willing to sacrifice that position because the defenders aren't really putting their hands up and saying, "Here, I'm keeping clean sheet, pick me." That's one of the
Yeah.
scenarios. Like I had a green arrow last week and I had no defenders playing. I had only Burgess. Burgess, the only guy that gave me 4 points and no returns from any defenders.
I was
So,
I was
and I had a
watching a
green
pod.
arrow. That's insane. We're
I
gone.
was watching a pod of FPL General on the Scout. I keep an eye on his team just because when I first started playing, he was one of the first people who I kind of learnt from. just as you do. So I just always look at his team, and he's currently 16k in the world, and he has Chiwomi as his third striker, who he never plays,
Mm.
and his front two I think is Chris Wood and Isak, and then he has like a really strong five-man midfield. I think his five-man midfield is Mbumo, Bruno, Salah, Palmer, Saka.
Yeah,
So like,
unless he switched to like Isak this week. I thought he had Cunha and Wood,
yeah,
but
it could be Cunha Wood, but I
yeah,
just thought to myself, damn, if I bring in Chiwomi or Cunha, I can then bring in like say the likes of KDB for this fixture run or Foden, and
yeah,
ultimately I'll just have to play JP every week. But their fixtures are great anyways for the fixture run that City have.
yeah. You're right. Definitely, it's a good play. That might be the move, man. Yeah, man. I don't think we know exactly what the right move is at the moment. I think the more we just discuss it, I think, for example, like someone that really comes to mind, like I hate this guy, but somehow he just finds a way back into my team. Is Calvert-Lewin back on the menu? The man has a double
Nah,
game week
Shut
nah,
the
too.
hell
nah,
up. Shut the hell up. We're moving on. We're
no,
moving
nah,
on, boys.
nah, nah, nah.
Shut the hell up, boys. We're
Guys,
not going
I'm
to talk about
sorry.
that.
I'm sorry for this blasphemy that just uh you heard in the stream.
Yeah,
But
guys, apologies from the Roundtable podcast from myself and Stark. Formal apology. Just moving on. I think that's everything we covered on the mystery chip slash assistant manager. Is there anything else you guys want to touch on?
nah, man.
All right,
I
then
think
let's
we're
move
good.
on
That was
to
a good
the
discussion.
yep. Let's move on to the double Arsenal attack or defense. Just a caveat: Arteta is the worst manager in the league, and he deserves no silverware, nothing. He's a certified liar. A liar does not deserve any glory at all. All right, just Kanji, take it away.
Yeah, no problem. I think it's important that we understand, like, yo, Sark, do you think like the mystery chip? I wish there was like a different rule to it, man. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, the mystery chip should have been Arteta has to be honest in a press conference for 1 week. None of,
You know what? Everyone would have loved that. You know that. I know what? No, there would be no backlash. There would be nothing. There is one thing that everyone would agree on is that right there, bro. Honestly,
he's just a
like,
prick. And do you know what makes it worse? He manages Arsenal, and I hate Arsenal.
oh, bro. I wish there was shit so that I didn't have to pick like Arsenal players. Like, I'm kind of glad that I have no City players in my team right now
Bro,
because I hate Pep as well.
let's just look at this graph on the screen. Arsenal's XG from open play, bro. They are currently sat in 17th. No, it's at 18th place. They're sat in 18th place for XG from open play. A team that wants to win the league and compete with the likes of Liverpool and Chelsea and even City has less XG from open play than Ipswich, Everton, who have Calvert Lewin. My goodness. And then if you look at their XG from set pieces, I'm surprised at Villa. My goodness. Like everyone talks about how good Arsenal are, but look at Villa's XG from set pieces. That's I didn't realise how good it was.
I swear Watkins has been banging a lot of headers this season, ain't he?
Mm.
Can you guys see the sofa score, the touch map for Bukayo Saka? Can you guys see
Mhm.
where is the most red?
Oh my god.
That's actually insane, boys. You would not see another winger like a top 5 winger in the league have that much of red in a corner, bro. Like they are literally playing for corner in every attack, bro. This is prime
That's
Stoke
crazy.
City FC, bro. They're making Stoke City look like they are literally Real Madrid right now. It's
Bro,
crazy.
Gabriel would have come away from that United game with 25 points, I think, honestly.
Bro, we are so unlucky as owners, honestly. And the fact that, bro, he's missed out again, like all these chances that he's basically, all these games that he missed, the chances, guess who capitalized on it?
Saliba.
There you go.
Yeah, just a quick question on Gabriel. I own Gabriel. I imagine we all do. And it's a burning question in our asses right now because we don't know what to do because we don't have information. And at the end of the day, it's a lot of money. There's other defenders on the menu like Trent, which a lot of managers can get to. If you have Gabriel, what are you guys going to do with him?
I think it's an interesting question. I think okay, we need more information on the injury. Now, my gut is really telling me that it's a concussion protocol. Like I was talking to one of my bros and he sort of mentioned it, and I think there was like a 12-day like rest period after he picked up a concussion based on the Premier League rules. So that would actually rule him out of this weekend and potentially back for next weekend. So my instinct is just telling me to wait. Like I think that's actually the real thing that happened. We don't really know the truth, and that's the problem with Arteta. So I put myself in a position where I have like Joe Gomez on the bench, so he's probably just going to come in for me against Fulham at home. So I'm not worried. But it's the fact that the fixtures coming up are prime fixtures, bro. They play Everton, Palace, and Ipswich. Like that is pretty much guaranteed 2 out of 3 clean sheets. So just bad luck. I think
Before
if
I
you
answer
want
that
to, you could
question,
just do.
sorry, go on, Kanji, go on.
Like, I think if you want to, you can obviously just do Gabriel to Timber. Like, I think that's something that people could do. It's an obvious move. Now, for me, I'm actually considering like Gabriel to Munoz if like things don't work out because I don't have Salah on my team. And given all the pressure on the double game weeks coming up and like the fixtures coming up, I want to captain Mo. So like there's pressure to bring him in like as soon as possible. So like Gabriel could be one of like my cash cows, I think, to sort of get money to upgrade Son. But it's just unfortunate, I think. For me, I think I'm going to wait 1 more week and then decide.
Mm.
Before I answer that question, Stark, in regards to Gabriel, whether to sell him or keep him, I don't know if you follow NBA. Kanji, you follow NBA, right? The National Basketball Association.
Yeah.
If you guys, so if on the chat, I'm not sure if you guys follow as well. So in the NBA, they have this rule where the NBA, the say a set manager, for example, has an injured player, and they don't put the right injury report to the NBA. They don't basically notify them, or they don't basically tell the truth, and they lie about it, and they arrest players lying about it. They get fined tens of thousands of dollars. Do you guys think that's something that should be implemented within the Premier League? That way, managers such as Arteta, Pep, Eddie Howe, X, Y, and Z, they don't basically lie about injury for particular players. If it's a concussion, they don't say it's muscular. If it's a muscular, they don't say it's concussion, and they don't lie about the availability. That way, they do get some sort of accountability, and we get more
Yeah,
honesty. Because otherwise, what's the point of press conference? The whole
yeah,
point the media is there is to get the report and tell the public what to expect. If I'm a fan, I'm going into a game, like just example, guys. Yeah, I'm a fan. I say hypothetically speaking, I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm a big Gabriel fan. I have a Gabriel jersey, right? All right. I wanted to see him play since I was 6 years old, whatever. I go to the stadium, and I was expecting to see Gabriel, but I go to the stadium, but I don't see my favorite player. Why? Because Arteta said he may be available. He's going to be available, but come the day, the match day, he's not available. I paid my hard-earned money, right? It was my dream to watch him. I don't think I'll be able to afford another ticket, but because of this X, Y, and Z manager, Arteta or Eddie Howe, whoever, I was not able to see my favorite player play. Like, where is the accountability? Where is the respect for the fans? Where is the respect for, like, there are a lot of people that care, and no, like, forget the game. I'm not even talking about this game. Like, if I'm a particular player fan, it could be Bukayo Saka, for example, right? A lot of
Yeah, of
kids
course.
look up to him. He's a role model, right, within UK. And if the manager's blatantly lying, like, what about the fans? We literally pay you. You're the reason why you guys have a job, right? You're getting millions of pounds not to sit there and lie. Like, the
Yeah,
fact
and
that
I
we
mean,
promote this
Arteta.
dishonesty. No, just casually, let me finish one. I made a tweet out that I hate these two managers like Pep and Arteta and whatnot. I had people in my comments saying, "This is part of the game. We enjoyed this." Are you fucking kidding me, bro? What's the fucking enjoyment in this? You have no clue what's going on. How is this enjoyment? It's like me throwing you in a dark alley saying, "Go have fun." There's nothing to have fun there. I'm in the darkness.
Wait, some people might disagree there, but some people like dark alleyways, man.
Oh, whoa.
Anyways,
Yeah.
anyways,
All
no,
right.
but I
Anyways,
think
go on,
it's
Kanji. Yeah.
I think it's pretty weird the way that the Premier League handles this. They definitely need to crack down on this as like a league. They also need to crack down on having better referees. Like there are like blatant problems that exist in this league. So I'm just hoping that as time goes on, things improve. I
Yeah,
mean, they've
from
added in VAR to like figure off offsides, but I don't know. It just feels like they're not improving the game enough, and managers are still being able to take advantage of this. And I hate this, bro. Like I hate this as like an FPL player. Like, why is it okay Arteta can lie? Like, just say the truth, bro. Like, I know he's doing it for a tactical advantage versus his opponents, so that they don't know if they have
there's
to
no.
game
This is
plan
the
with
thing. This is
Saka
why
or
it's so
without Saka.
stupid.
That's why.
This is why it's stupid. There's no tactical advantage because every team's going to prepare for two cases. One if he's there, one if he's not. It has no impact, bro. Zero, zilch. Do you think people? If you start doing something, it's now a trend. So if it's quite easy for someone who's intelligent to notice when the Arteta's lying or telling the truth. So It's just devoid of any like effectiveness. These mind tricks.
Can I mention something else? Every time he lied about a injury for his player, for example, whether it's Gabriel, whether it be Saka, he either lost those game or lost he draw. So for example, for Fulham, we didn't know anything about Gabriel, he drew. For Bournemouth, we didn't know anything about Saka, he lost. So every time he tried to do this games, when you try to be too smart, he actually flopped. So where is the tactical advantage? You're actually hurting yourself rather than helping yourself here. You weren't really helping yourself. Bournemouth was ready for you.
I don't buy this Gabriel concussion thing though, because if it's a
Mm.
concussion protocol, you would make that obvious, and then you follow the protocols. Why would you not say that it's concussion, but then still follow the protocols? That makes no logical sense. Why are people saying this? Someone please elaborate and make me see what you're seeing, because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean Arteta doesn't make sense, bro. Like nobody knows what he's doing. Like honestly, it's a
Anyways,
weird
I did answer
manager.
your question, Stark. Would I sell Gabriel? No. I'm gonna stick with Burgess and Graves on my bench, and I'm gonna keep him until I know something. I think Gabriel is one of those players. If you sell him and then he goes and comes back the next week and he scores a bullet header, you're scrambling to bring him back in. So I think that's one of the players that deserve my patience. Unfortunately, it's not his fault. It is the manager. I wish he would have just done some Instagram post just to let us know. But I know how Arteta
Yeah.
is. He does pickpocketing with his players. He tells them, yeah, come with wearing hoodies. Make sure even if you're injured, make sure you show up in the away games. Make sure you don't show up on the training pitch. It's ridiculous what he's doing. It's like I think he deserves a sack. I think he deserves a sack. I'm gonna start a hashtag sack Arteta, bro. Get him out of there, bro. Just get
Oh,
the
I've
heck
been,
get
I've
him out of
been,
there, bro.
honestly, I've been Arteta out for a while. I've
Yeah.
always thought he's like the man before the
Mm.
man, and like I'm waiting to see like Arsenal get into that second gear and stay there. I mean, they were there for like against West Ham, against Forest, and then it just disappeared. So they went on into the Champions League, got another good performance. So let's see if they can carry it on in the Prem. So
Yeah,
let's
I
see
think.
how that goes on.
Lastly, on Gabriel, I think if we get nothing, like no training photos, nothing again in the press conference, which I think will be the case, I think I'm going to move him on to Trent.
Yeah, that's an
Oh,
I
upgrade though.
can't.
Yeah,
I
that's an
just
upgrade.
can't be asked. I just cannot be asked with these Arteta. And do you know what? Secondly, the biggest issue is for me, this isn't the first niggle he's had. I've seen him get these little annoying injuries quite consistently this season. So maybe he's just, when someone's just struggling, you just continue to struggle. Like, I feel like he's not 100% fit. Like he's constantly
mm,
battling, man.
yeah.
What do you guys think of
Yo,
the double Arsenal attack? What would you double up on?
Havertz.
So you prefer double attack then, yeah?
For their fixtures, I think double attack could cook. Yeah,
yeah, they
Kanji?
do have good attacking. They have good fixtures for double attack. I just would never double up on Arsenal attack. Like at least for me, like I can't be that guy. Honestly, I
yeah.
don't trust their attack.
If you look at their open play, XG compared to their set piece XG, going double attack is probably actually going double defense.
That's hilarious. Um, Stark, what do you think of Raya? Do you think he's worth the money?
No,
Fair enough.
I
Fair.
own him. And I'd rather have say I think Henderson's the best value for money goalkeeper. He's 4.4
Yeah,
million. He makes good saves. I think he's actually in isolation a very good keeper. I remember watching Palace Chelsea, and this guy made 7 saves, and he basically got them a point. Like he was really good that day. I've seen him have like other great days, and I think I just like teams that have 5 at the back can shut up shop. And I know that they reduced Newcastle to 1 shot in the whole game, and it wasn't even on target. So like I think there's signs that they're starting to turn things around, and I do believe Chalobah, Guehi, and Lacroix can provide some stability. I think they're good centre backs.
Fair enough. Kanji?
yeah. Just echo whatever Stark was saying there. Yeah. I think
Alright.
we've talked Arsenal to death, bro. Like I think it's
Alright.
important to move on to a more attacking team in Chelsea, bro. Stark, this is your team, man. And a lot of people are looking at the fixtures coming up and they're thinking to themselves, like, man, we need more Chelsea players. If we look at the Premier League table at the moment, they're actually in second above Arsenal and Man City. You must feel a lot of pride about that. And the fixtures coming up are actually really good, like Brentford, Everton, Fulham, Ipswich, Palace, Bournemouth, Wolves. And like if you think about it from an attacking perspective, Man City is a good fixture. West Ham, Brighton is they're another good attacking fixtures, and then Southampton and Leicester are on the horizon as well. So, what are your thoughts on some of the players from Chelsea, Star?
Well, I think I wouldn't touch the wingers. So obviously, your Sancho's, Madueke's, Joao Felix's. I wouldn't touch any of those assets. There's just too many options. And Maresca, I love him, and he's proved himself to be so adaptable, and his approach is, depending on the opposite team, he does a lot of research, and he kind of adapts his tactics to like find split space, exploit space, get the 3 points, and he's been doing that. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see some players get dropped one week, play the other week, just due to the tactical setup. I think there's a lot of love for Enzo Fernandez right now because of his price point, and I do think he's a fantastic budget enabler at his price. Like you can't go wrong. I know that there could be an element of recency bias there. Is it sustainable? Probably not. But he has quite a lot of routes to points, which is quite good for his price. Like he takes some set pieces. He's getting in really dangerous spaces on the edge of the box where he scored his volley in the last game. And we're just such an attacking team. The fixtures are great. He played all 3 games in that week as well. So he's like his minutes are proven to be very good. And one thing I would say is the only risk to him is that in the big games, Maresca wants to play Lavia Caicedo for stability. But as we've seen recently, he's put Caicedo right back and inverted him into midfield.
Mm.
So he's finding a way to get Enzo in at the same time due to Enzo's form. And if you look at those fixtures, they're pretty much all green fixtures. So these are fixtures for Enzo. So I would be very confident that he gets the minutes. It's just whether he can get the returns, I don't know. But like he's getting the opportunity. So I'd definitely say he's worth it.
Yeah, what do you think, man?
Bro, I've got some spoiler alert. Enzo Fernandez, my goat, is in my team. I just want to say something. Stark and Kanji, they're all glazing right now. Look at them, look at their faces. They're all so happy. They're both teams are playing, fighting for title. Meanwhile, I'm over here, fighting relegation, 13th in the league table. But it's okay, my day will come. Trust the process. Hashtag we believe. Hashtag Amorable will cook one day. In regards to Enzo Fernandez, he's my favorite player. I'm jealous the fact that Chelsea has him. When the rumors were about Chelsea, buying him, I wished that United could have pursued him. But obviously, I don't know what we were doing. We spent 80 million on Hoyland instead, whereas we could have got Enzo, we could have got Harry Kane as well. But it is what it is. It is what it is. And then obviously Palmer, which also I'm a big fan of Palmer. Look, I bought in Enzo Fernandez. I took a minus for hit to bring him in. That's how much I actually love him. There is a bit of a fandom in there. That's why I actually went above and beyond to get him in. Now, in regards to FPL option, do I expect him to get FPL return week in, week out? No. However, if he's playing that dual 10 position with Palmer, I do think he's doing essentially the same job as Bruno, who costs, 8.5 million? But he doesn't have for example, all the set pieces, and he doesn't have the pens. However, he does have some set pieces and obviously corners. I think overall he provides a really good enabling asset. He's a really enabling asset which enables you to get the likes of Trent, Gabriel, Raya, and whatnot. So you can have a really strong defense as well as an attack because he's a great enabler. And I don't need him to play every week. So if he's coming in as your 7/8 attacker and you can rotate with like the likes of João Pedro and the likes of, I don't know, a Rogers or Semenyo, then it's fine. However, I don't expect to start him every week and expect a return because, as Stark said, depending on opponents, like if it's a Fulham, which is a pretty decent team, they may like to go for a bit more control, and he may play a bit more of a defensive duty work, and that when Lavia will come in as well. But yeah, I really like the pick. I think Kukurea is a good shout as well. I mean, we saw how attacking he is. He's picked up 1 or 2 assists last game. So yeah.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. I think the picks sort of pick themselves. And like what's interesting with Chelsea is I think they're second. They're in their top three, I think, for goals scored. I think they might even be first. Stark, do you know?
I think
Yeah,
they're
we're
first.
number one.
They're
We're
first
number
for
one.
sure.
We're number one
35
for
goals.
Wow.
Like I know,
Wow.
I think we've got just from eye test, I think we've got the best attack in the league right now, currently. Um, Obviously Man City are class, but it's not clicking right now, and they've got injuries, so I don't put them in that category right now. So out of the teams that are firing, I know statistically the evidence is there. We're number one for XG, but it's just when I watch us play, like we invite teams to press, and with the likes of Colwell, who can just break the lines so well from centre back, we just break down teams so easily. And Palmer on the half turn, I don't know. I just think we look so good in attack right now. Like when we played Spurs last week, I know it's a chaotic end-to-end game, which is fantastic to watch, and it does leave a lot of space. But even at 2-0 down, I was so confident we was going to win. I put a bet on us from 2-0 down to win the game. Like
Um,
that's how confident I was. I just knew we would win that game. We just Labia just kept breaking the lines every other minute. We just couldn't. Sancho, big up Sancho for scoring that goal. It was a great goal. We needed it, but I was always confident.
nice. Yeah, I mean they're playing great. I mean it's a good differential pick. I always sort of ask myself like, is it worth going for Salah plus like a 5.0 like Enzo or maybe even Ahmad from Man United? Keeman, do you have any thoughts on Ahmad?
Well, we're in game week 16 now, I think, next game week, and I have not owned a single United asset till now. I don't like to mention my rank ever. I would say I like to say that I'm doing quite well without owning a single asset. So I'd say I would like that to continue, that trend. And if I'm being objective, no bias, nothing, I do not think Amaram has the quality of players that he needs or the personnel to be able to play the way that he wants to play. The only player that suits
Mm,
his style is Ahmad. But even then, as Stock mentioned earlier, and you mentioned as well, and Kanji, we may be prioritizing Europe, right? Europa. So that means he may rest him in a couple of these easier or tougher games, and that might reduce his appeal. Now, if you're bringing Ahmad as an 8 attacker like an Enzo, I don't have a problem with that at all. However, do not expect to start him every week and expect a return. He does not provide a goal threat like, for example, your Rogers would. He would provide a bit more assist threat, whereas Rogers would provide a bit more goal slash assist threat. So I think in isolation, I would prefer Rogers and even Iobi over Ahmad to an extent. The reason why I'm going for Enzo, though, however, is because I feel like Chelsea are a bit more established team. They know the style of football they want to play. I also think that there is much more things that I can predict with Chelsea compared to United. I think we're a bit unpredictable right now. There's a lot of
mm,
experiments being done. One day Ahmad could be playing right wing back. Next day you could be playing 10. The next day you could be playing God knows where. So I think the lack of uncertainty puts me off. But yeah, I don't
yeah,
blame you if you wanted to go there because it's quite cheap. But yeah,
yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I think you know what you're getting with Enzo. He's
yeah.
probably the better player at the moment as well. I mean, it's like he's won a World Cup, right? Like he's a proven player, not just in the Prem, on the
No, no,
world
no.
stage.
If you're
So,
comparing player for player, it's not close. I'm sorry. With all due respect to Ahmad, I'm a United fan. Enzo Fernandez is not never lacing his boots.
um,
Yeah,
What do
all
you
right,
mean?
that's cool.
I think
What
Enzo
do you mean?
Fernandez is different class. I think Enzo Fernandez is like world class. Ahmad is not there yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Get what you mean.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But
yeah,
it sounded like you meant it the other way around, and I was going
No,
to
no,
be
no, no,
like,
no, 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 no. Enzo Fernandez is a 100 million player, bro. Like, come on, 100 million. Ahmad is no one is buying Ahmad for 100 million. Come on now. Like,
yeah, it's just
yeah,
like
yeah.
Mazraoui's been class since he joined United, and like the guy's getting benched. Like Amarim is clearly, experimenting with what's going to work, and when it clicks, it could be magical. But I just think wait until it does click, and then maybe jump on the bandwagon.
yeah, for sure. I think we discussed Chelsea enough, touched on Man United as well. Moving on, I think to Palace, I think is a really interesting talking point. I know the next 2 weeks don't look that great, but from game week 18 up until game week 30, they have the best fixtures in the entire league. So if you're looking to bring in some assets, maybe you have somebody like Acuna you're looking to move on, or you have someone in your midfield you're not really happy with, maybe like a Son, you're looking to bring in a different midfielder, maybe like a Brian and Bumo. You could be looking to target somebody from Palace, and they have multiple really good picks. Now we don't exactly know who's on the pens. The one that took the pen last was Mateta, so your underlying assumption could be, hey, he's on the pens. But to me, I think it's like a 50-50 situation, similar to the way that it was with like Odegaard and Saka last year. So I know that the coach came out in the press conference and said, hey, we have two penalty takers, and they decide on the pitch. Maybe Mateta took one, Eze will take the next one. Nobody really knows. But I think it's important to understand that these are the players that are likely going to get you some good green arrows in the future if you can bring some other players in. The fixtures are tantalizing. Henderson himself is only 4.4. Munoz is really interesting because not only is he a defender, he was priced at 5.0, he's been falling, and he's now 4.7. And he has very strong expected goal involvement. He's in the top 10 for expected goal involvement, and all of his XGI is actually XG. He's basically like a right winger for Palace. So he's a really interesting defender to own. And then you have Eze, who arguably is one of the top 20 players in the league. I think he's a top 10 player in the league, honestly. Like, I'm a really big fan of him. Now, the counter argument to Eze will say, hey, Elise's left. So, that Elise is definitely the better player. Now that he's gone, Palace won't be as good. We've seen that from the results so far this season. But it feels to me that Palace is sort of finding this new lineup where they're playing Sar instead of Kamada. Kamada's sort of been phased out. And it looks like they're getting back to go up another level. So I think maybe that's just me being optimistic. And I've always been really high on Eze. So I've been waiting for this run to bring him in personally. So he's for sure coming into my team. So I think
Kanji,
they're really good options. Like, what do you guys think?
Kanji, you're more than high on Eze, bro. You're after what you've just said. You're naming your firstborn after Eze, bro. Like, what did I just hear, bro? This guy said Eze's top 10 in the league. Bro,
Let me smoke whatever you're smoking, can't you, bro? Send that to me, bro. Come on, bro. FedEx,
you
whatever, bro.
you've got a tattoo of Eze on your arm or something, bro. What's going on? Where's he gone?
Yo, come here, bro.
Dude, you guys make me laugh, bro. No, listen, I
Nah,
just think he's
bro.
a really great player, man. Like he was part of he was part of the Euro squad for England. Like this guy's
Bro,
like
he,
no
he
like
was he
scrub.
was part of the foosball table starting lineup, bro. This guy wasn't part of the actual starting lineup on the pitch, bro.
No, I do think
Oh
Eze is a
man.
really good player, though. Stark. I do think he's a good player, but I don't think he's a good fantasy asset considering how Palace are playing. I don't think they have a great attack. As you said, Munoz, which is their right back, playing as a winger. That's how much it shows that their attack isn't strong. Like they're relying on the defenders to create chances. And Oli said they didn't really replace him. Like that is a big miss, right?
Mm,
That was the 50% of their attack. If Eze was basically, I feel the other half, right? So they're missing 50% of their attack. I don't think if I was to go for a Palace asset, it would be an attacker, it'd be a defender. However, there are a couple of caveats with the defense. You got Munoz, which is the most appealing asset due to his attacking potential, right? He's on 4 yellow cards, so that's something to consider. Maybe we should jump on him in game week 19 if he doesn't get his fifth yellow by then. And then obviously moving on to Henderson, which I think is a very good budget enabling keeper at 4.4 million. So, Stark, thoughts on him?
What, Henderson?
Yeah,
Yeah, I made my case like 15 minutes ago on him. How I think he's the best budget keeper in the game. Going
yeah.
back to Eze, yeah, he's a good player. Top 10 in the league. Crazy. Like you must have a selfie on him. He must be on your wallpaper on your phone or something, bro. Um, the good thing about Crystal Palace is that they've got Bournemouth and Brighton, which they're not terrible fixtures for attack. So, you can watch them games, see how they perform. And if you're liking what you see, then Eze could be an option. But, he's not getting 90 minutes. He's not on penalties. Yeah, he takes set pieces, but like the OG Eze appeal, where he's the talisman, great attack under Glasner, on pens, 90 minutes. That's not the case right now. So I think
mm,
you got to wait and
yeah.
see, and there's definitely alternatives.
Yeah, I think there's certain picks, for example, like Bruno Fernandez, where like when he's not getting 90 minutes, he's just a bad pick, in my opinion. But I look at somebody like Eze, where even if he's getting 75 minutes, I still think he's a wonderful pick at his price because, like, in my opinion, I think he's on pens, at least 50% share of the pens. He's on like a majority of the corners. Like right now, there's that Will Hughes guy who's taking some of the corners, but he's gonna be replaced by Adam Wharton sometime soon, like when he's back fit. So that means that Eze will be on all the corners, will be on all the free kicks, and he's a 50% chance of a pen share and just the best fixtures in the league. The reason why I'm so high on Eze is also because he's very good underlying data. He's picked up 0.44 XGI per 90. And if you look at his career, he's picked up 23 XG and scored 27 goals. So over the course of his career so far, he showed that he overperforms his data. So like there's a lot of things that really like stick out to me. That's why like I'm going Eze like without a doubt in this run as long
Yeah,
as he's healthy.
I get it. I get it.
Fair enough.
I understand it. Yeah.
I think just one shout out. If you really were to go for any attacker from Palace, I think the most of the goal will probably land on Mateta though. I do think you could go there, but I think there are other strikers like Chris Wood who would probably match him, if not outperform him, with the fixtures that they have, as well as they have better value for money. So moving on, the next is best Cunha replacement because he's a Brazilian fraud. He has a fake Brazilian passport, and I was bamboozled. I was fooled by the FPL community. I was told he's the next R9. But this guy is a fraud. He had 3 back-to-back blanks, and I'm looking to take him out, even if it takes -4. He's a fraud. He's gone from my team. Moving on. What's the best replacement, guys? Talk to me.
Yo, you know what? Like, I think there are a couple good options that really stand out. To me, I think Isak is the one that's like top tier. Like, I think he's the best striker in the game. Like, if you take Holland out of it, in my opinion, because like you have somebody that's nailed for 90 minutes. There's news that just came out recently that I think Callum Wilson's out for 2 months with some sort of injury. So we already knew Isak was nailed for 90, but now he's 100% nailed for 90, and he's guaranteed penalties when he's on the pitch, which is massive. But that was already the case in my opinion. So underlying assumption hasn't changed. And he's playing 90s in the Prem. He's just one of the best strikers in the league. So I think Isak is top tier. But if you have Cunha, you don't have that much money. So if you wanted to get up to Isak, you'd have to find some sacrifices elsewhere. So for the most part, they're going to be looking to target the likes of like João Pedro, Jimenez, Chris Wood, and Mateta. Like those would be like the 4 main options. So like, what do you guys think of those 4?
I'm not sold on Palace attack, man. Like, I could, bro, it's just a trend. Like, people put too much stocks in these. How can I say it? Like, bottom 10, you know what I'm trying to say? Like relegation fodder teams when they
Yeah.
have good fixtures. So Wolves, for example, like I know Cunha did great and he got people some nice hauls, but like he was overachieving his XG, and now like look at him, he's blanking 3 game weeks in a row, and Wolves look terrible. So it's like, would I be surprised if the likes of Eze and Mateta in
Well,
this case, if they do well? No, but at the same time, would I be surprised if they blank 3 game weeks in a row and then Nketiah comes in and benches him? No, I wouldn't. So I don't know, man. Sometimes people put too much stocks in like the likes of Palace with these fixtures because Palace haven't looked great. They're not completely green fixtures for Palace. Palace will struggle in these games. They're green fixtures for the other teams as well.
Agree. I'm not
fair
looking at
point.
Palace
Yeah.
as a Cunha replacement. Why would I go from one trap to another? Come on, boys. Like, what are you guys trying to feed me? From hot dog to a sandwich? Come on, be serious, guys. I'm looking for a steak over here. So for me, the first steak I'm looking at, as you guys can see, is a ribeye steak. Man like Isak. The problem I have is I already own another stake. You know what I mean? Which is Jackson. The problem is he has not looked good versus Spurs, and he got benched versus Southampton. There's 2 red flags there. If I see another red flag, he might be on the chopping blocks, and Isak might be coming into my team. Call me reactionary, call me whatever. Listen. If you're 8.2 million and you're in my team and you're not delivering, you have to go. If Erling Haaland didn't have a place in my team, who are you? You're gonna be gone. Now Jackson has great fixtures. I'll give him Brentford. I'll look at maybe even Everton and whatnot. But if he does pick up a 5th yellow and he misses, for example, Ipswich, he might be gone from our team. And he doesn't look good, like in terms of his performance doesn't improve. He's probably gone and Isak might come in. However, my best replacement for Cunha is Chris Wood. The reason being because I think I made a mistake selling him to begin with. And this is the second time I've done it this season. And I'm an idiot for that. And I fell to the peer pressure. I looked to the mini league, etc. And I thought everyone is Cunha. If I don't get him, he's going to keep on punishing me. And that let basically cloud my judgment. I never rated Wolves. I never thought they were anything. They were just useless. I never watched a single one of their games. Like last week is the only game I watched versus West Ham, and I regretted it. I wasted 120 minutes of my life that I'll never get back. Right? I would not get my refund for that money or time. Nothing. Ultimately, Chris Wood is basically Haaland. Haaland, what Chris is doing is what Haaland should be doing every week in, week out. As crazy as that sounds, Haaland costs 15 million. Chris Wood is delivering for 6.5 million week in, week out. I want to look at the total score. Is Chris Wood matching Haaland this season? Because I wouldn't be shocked right now.
He's on 80 points, isn't he? I think.
Yeah, like this guy scored versus United. Like this, he scored versus Chelsea. Like in these tough games, he's scoring. Like we think it's Chris Wood, or
Bro,
we just overlook him.
listen, Cunha has Ipswich and Leicester in the next 2. Chris Wood has Villa and Brentford. So it's Brentford away. So if you look at how attacking Brentford are, they score a hell of a lot of goals, but they also give up a hell of a lot of chances. So I would not be surprised to see Chris Wood score in that game. And Villa look depleted playing in the Champions League, a big game. They're going to be stretched, tired legs. Forest will full week's rest. Like I would not be surprised to see Chris Wood match Cunha in these 2 games, and he's going to go up 0.2 million.
Bro, I'm not gonna let that happen. I think he's gonna come in my team before that, bro. I'll be real with you. I think I'm gonna probably move off Cunha next week if Gabriel is fine. Most likely he's gonna come in because I think Brentford is a fixture to target. Like they're not great defensively. Like I mean, Isak should have had a brace. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
just a quick one on Isak. Callum Wilson's injured, isn't he, for 2 months? So obviously Isak stocks are going.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to see when you're looking at the minutes per expected goal involvement non-penalty that João Pedro and Raul Jimenez are actually doing better than Chris Wood and Mateta, and they're actually cheaper. But doesn't it kind of feel foolish to be prioritizing somebody like Chris Wood who gets less chances, even though he's more expensive?
He's just so clinical. Like we're now 15 game weeks in, and this has been the case for 15 game weeks, and he's on 80 points. So he doesn't need 4 chances a game to score. Like that header against United, I don't know how he managed to score that. That was a great header. Like he just keeps doing it, man. Like he just keeps scoring whenever he gets a chance to do so. So I don't know. I wouldn't be put off by the data with Chris Wood because he's kind of shown consistency.
Yeah, makes sense. I did want to suggest like two other players. Like one player would be somebody like Adam Armstrong. So you basically just go down to like a really cheap playing forward, and you can just spend your money elsewhere.
How much is he?
Um, he's 5.1. He's been getting some minutes recently, so we'll see how that evolves. But there's no faith in that. I mean, you could go to Vardy as well at 5.5. The new
Vardy
coach has come
five
in.
six.
He's been getting more minutes as well. 5.6 now, yeah. So there are some other options, but I think Raul Jimenez is better than all of those. So that's why I think if I go to the 5.5 tier, it's Raul Jimenez or JP. Oh,
Yeah, but It's funny, Raul Jimenez, man. Like their fixtures are great, and I do think he's on pens. It's a weird one, man. It's a weird one.
yeah,
Uh,
he definitely he got rotated, but I feel like the fact he scored against Arsenal, it just silences the doubters. Like it cements his place as the first choice striker. I mean, the whole season he's been first choice. Like Muniz is the type of player that I think just had a purple patch last year, and Raul is just class now, bro. He's so good. Like why would he get rotated? Maybe again in the when there's like a midweek game. But other than that, I expect Raul to start every game and play 70. You know?
yeah, I think the fixtures are great for Fulham. He's a good rotation piece to have with JP, to be fair, and I think his stocks go up with Reece Nelson out. Obviously, Cayman alluded to this many game weeks ago because he owned Raul and he was watching them. Reece Nelson's a very selfish player. He kept cutting in and trying to shoot. It's almost like he was trying to over impress to nail down that spot. So with Reece Nelson out, like I think Adama Traore played against Arsenal, and whenever Adama Traore starts, Raul Jimenez just seems to always score. I don't know.
Interesting. I did have a good connection at Wolves back in the day.
can I mention one thing by the way? Fulham don't score many goals. Like I understand we want to go there. Like again, their fixtures are so tempting. Like Raul had also similar type of fixtures like not too long ago, right? That we targeted
Mm,
him for, and he blanked 4 games in a row. And then he goes out and then gets a goal versus Arsenal out of all teams, like where most people would probably benched him. But luckily for
yeah,
people that didn't have like, for example, like obviously the
Salah.
Liverpool game got postponed, and then obviously people like Raul came in for Salah. So those like were fortunate points. But it's really unpredictable because he also gets an early sub, like around 70th minutes, sometimes even
Yeah.
65 minutes. And then you also have to question, like, I guess, like his age. I mean, I don't know how, like, he's probably at 35 now or 34. So maybe that he doesn't have the fitness to be able to play full 90 minutes. And then you also have a really good young striker in obviously Muniz, who hasn't looked himself, but it's not to say that he won't turn around later in the season. Like we saw what he done last season. He came in and then he scored like 4 games in a row, and all of a sudden, Raul loses his place. So the minute Muniz gets a goal or something, you never know if he gets a nudge ahead of Raul. So that's what worries me. Whereas with Chris Wood, I think regardless of if Ione does well or not, I think we know that Nuno prefers Wood. He has a good relationship with him and is really high on him. So I think Chris Wood is much more safer than Raul in terms of both output as well as minutes. And he also has a
Yeah.
pen, as we know for a fact.
Yeah. He's 1 point more expensive, so that's what you expect. Like, it just really depends, I think, on like I don't think there's much to me that separates those two, especially in terms if you factor in price. So it really just matters like what you're gonna do with the extra money. And like for me, I need to build a fund for Mohamed Salah. Like I need to get Salah on my team. So I definitely need to be going to Raul Jimenez or Armstrong or Daka, like some garbage like attacker to get money for Mo. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
prioritize one
bro,
of those
I'm
guys.
seriously, I'm seriously tempted to bring in Chiwomi, never play him, and literally start JP and Isak every week, and then have a really strong five-man midfield and a strong defense because I'm gonna wildcard in game week 30. If I play my bench boost late on, then what's the point of me saving a strong bench now? Like I know there's rotation, but like one rotation player is enough. Like having a defender, having like a fifth midfielder. I don't know.
Yeah. Should we move
I
on?
think in order for you to, yeah, in order for you to do that, you need to have every other player in your team playing 90 minutes and like the main talisman of their team. Like for example, if you look at General's team, he has the main player in every single team. Like Chris Wood, Cunha, Bruno Fernandez, Saka, Palmer, Salah, they'll never be benched. So if that's the way you want to do it, then you can. You just have to be careful. But I
Should
think
we?
we have to just quickly touch on captaincy, bro.
All right, go on then,
I
because
think
obviously we're running quite a bit late. I think on
No,
the
we're
yeah,
gonna
but
do it on the PFC. Let's go to
okay,
PFC.
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Let's run through it. Okay. So last week, game week 14, this was 2 weeks ago because we missed last week because of the midweek. Cayman, Kanji, and Stark, all three of us ended up with 2 points. Were you able to update the overall score so
Yeah,
far?
yeah, yep. There we go. Here's yep.
Nice. So we have Cayman still hanging things. You're not too far behind. I'm right in the middle, and Stark is he's not too far away, but he's leading the way. And the guy that's in first place definitely gets first place with who they're gonna pick for PFC going into next week. So Stark, what are you thinking?
I own Kulusevski. Wanted him for this fixture. Um, Kulusevski is the punt. Not many people have him. I think he can do well. It's a great fixture against Southampton. Is Mbuma? Is Mbuma my flop?
No, I put Dalot. I think you said Dalot.
Wait,
Can you hear me? You said Dalot as your
Yeah,
flop.
we can.
I remember you got Dalot as flop. He plays City anyways. That makes sense. I got Mazraoui as flop.
You guys are cheating the system, eh?
Dallo
Bro, the
flop. Can't
Holland
be
blank would be crazy, bro.
Yeah, you got Kulusevski as punt, and I think Kanji you're gonna put Son, isn't it? So we'll just amend that anyways. So you got Son as a
Yeah,
punt, and then ESR as
yeah,
flop, and Isak as captain. I
yeah.
went I
But
went with
basically,
Enzo
the
Fernandez basically, because I thought he's a very nice punt. I mean, I just got him in my team this week. We're gonna get into later, and obviously Mazraoui is playing City. I think we're gonna concede, but that doesn't mean we're not gonna get a result. I don't think we can probably get a result, but still, I think we'll probably concede. And captaincy is Palmer for now, but that could obviously. I'm not sure if that's who's gonna be my captain in my team, but it's just a close call between Salah and Palmer.
yeah, same. It's interesting for me. It's like Isak and Palmer this week. Like both fixtures at home. There's not much to really split them apart from the fact Palmer's a mid. That's it. But yeah, just remember, yeah, I'm on Sun for punt. Just wanted to confirm
Yep,
that.
no problem. I'll
But
change that
yeah, I
graphic
can't
up. No
believe he's
worries.
less than 10% owned. Like that's
Yeah,
ridiculous. Like it's
yeah,
crazy against Southampton.
yeah.
Hey, I
It's
can't wait.
crazy.
Anyway, so
Let's
that's
moving
the
on.
punt for game
Yep.
week 16, and let's move on to the team review. So, this was my team from game week 15. I actually made one of the dumbest transfers. I didn't even know there was a postponement. Like, I've honestly been trying my best to like take a step back from FPL to like enjoy it again. It's been pretty frustrating being so engaged in like doing so poorly, if I'm honest. Like, if I look at every mini league, I'm like 200 points behind. Like, it's crazy. I don't even know what to say. So I did the dumb move and just compounding my problems. I did 8 Nuri to Joe Gomez, which costed me 4 points. Could have just made that transfer a day later after the deadline, but it is what it is. Lost 4 points there, but can't be too annoyed because I did also do Jackson to Isak, and that gained me points back. So I'm glad that I had the money to do that because of the price changes that happened over the last week. So, looking at my team, I'm very happy with the core. Drop Pedro, Isak, Saka, Palmer. Son is the one that there's question marks over. But if you look at that little triangle right in the middle of Palmer with the cap, Son, and Isak, those three will determine my game week. No one in my mini league owns either Isak or Son. And most people have Jackson and Salah in those spots. how well those two players do versus how well my two players do will determine my game week most likely. But I do once I mentioned it earlier, I have Gabriel starting. I know I have Joe Gomez on the bench because I have enough depth because I don't have Mo in my team. So hopefully that pays off. If Son can match Mo, I'm cooking this week, and he has Southampton, so he should. So let's see how this game week goes. I'm feeling pretty happy going into game week 16. We can move on.
Yep. So stock your Game Week 15 review.
Yeah, if you follow us on Twitter, I posted on the Roundtable account Palmer captaincy before it was even a debate about Liverpool game being called off. I'm actually really disappointed that the game did get called off. My theory was, I think Liverpool would have had a tight game with Everton in those conditions, and I think a lot of people would have captained Salah out of fear because of his recent performances, and I would have gained more points on the field if Salah, blanked and Palmer got that mega haul. So disappointed. And Cunha should have had a penalty. Like, what the hell? Cunha should have 100% had a pen in that game. There was two instances where he could have had two pens. So to not even get one, and for them to concede when it was a foul on their defender as well from the set piece, don't know what was happening in that game. Leif Davis once again so close to a clean sheet, man, and they just concede in the. This manager's an idiot. Who doesn't have a defender on their bench to see out a game in the Premier League when you're fighting for survival? Ridiculous, man.
Yeah, I agree. He needs to have a backup centre back to protect Leeds. He lost too many games in the last minute, and I do agree that you were the one that was high on Palmer before the game was postponed. So good shot on that stock. And then obviously your team for Game Week 16.
Yeah, man. I went early on Joe Gomez. People probably might be surprised to see that.
Nice.
I think based on the press conferences, Slot is going to utilize Quansah at right back to manage Trent's minutes due to his return from injury and help with the load management. Kanji, I'm worried about Kulusevski. So I don't know if you're worried about Son because their Europa League game, they're going for that, and they've got Rangers. And if they start their strong team against Rangers, that's a lot of Sunday, Thursday fixtures. I wouldn't be surprised to see him rest a few players versus Southampton, because on paper Southampton's an easier fixture than Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, Spurs, they need to pick up wins in the Prem. So I think there's just pressure on everyone on Spurs to just do well. I don't think he'll just bench his best players. Like, I expect Kulusevski, Son to start. Brennan has more of a risk because of the Madison rotation, right?
Mm, yeah, but yeah, man, Gomez. The reason for Gomez is because um, clean sheets. If part of Trent's haul is a clean sheet plus attacking return, um, so I can mitigate some of that damage. And what it's going to enable for me is Kulusevski to KDB/Foden next game week for City's fixture run. So that's what I'm on.
Looks good, man. Love it. Love it. Any thoughts, Kanji?
Yeah, it looks great. I mean, team is basically identical to me, except he has like Salah instead of Son, which
No,
is
it's
a
not.
big
It's not
upgrade.
identical. It's not an identical. Salah is everything. All right, moving on. My Game Week 15 team review. I can't believe I had a green arrow. I mean, 63 points after having. I mean, I went early on Trent move. I had no. I was basically had no defenders at all. I had Greaves who didn't even play. I had Hall with 1 pointer and Burgess, like out of all players that got an assist. He was also quite close to having a clean sheet, but he lost it towards the end. And then obviously Jackson disappointed. Cunha is basically a trap, which I learned now after watching him. And then Ja Pedro, I mean, he's 5.7. What do you expect? You can't. I don't think he's one of the assets you play every week. To be honest, it's depending on fixtures. Overall, I'm really pleased that I went with Palmer at the end of the day. I knew he was the best captain on paper, but I would have probably captained Salah most likely due to fear, as Stark mentioned. But I'm really pleased what happened is ultimately, went my way and had a green arrow following from 47k to now 34k in the world. So really pleased with that. Just moving on to my game week 16 team selection, I have actually made a move, which is I bought in Enzo Fernandez, which is on my bench. I think I'm going to start him ahead of Mbimo. And I bought in Raya for Sanchez, who I think as a minus asset. He's not been keeping clean sheet. He also got bench versus Southampton, and he's been making mistakes every game. So I think he will lose his place soon. So I'd rather be ahead of the curve and maybe double up on Arsenal defense, considering they have Everton at home, which I think will be a clean sheet. Hence, the -4 would probably be mitigated there, and I'll probably get 2 points what Real would have got So yeah, I think the main reason why actually we're talking -4 is for Enzo Fernandez. It sounds crazy, but I do have a fandom for him. Is There's a bit of bias. I'm a big Argentina fan, and I'm a big Enzo fan myself. So I ultimately went there because of the fandom, and I mean it's fun the fact that that you own a player that you watch, you love and enjoy, and you can also enjoy his points. So it's double bonus. So yeah, any thoughts, guys? Who would you guys bench in this team for Enzo?
I would bench Enzo.
Nah, no way, no way. He's playing Brentford at home. Start.
Um, I mean, and Boomer's got a great record against us historically, but their away form is so pants this season. If he's playing right wing back, which I think he probably will,
Yep,
he's not. He's probably gonna not get many points. Like JP is gonna be up for the game. Everyone knows Crystal Palace Brighton is a big derby.
yep,
It's a massive derby. So they'll be up for the game. Could be a lot of goals in it.
yep.
I
Yeah,
wouldn't bet JP.
fair enough. I'll probably bet Chambimo because of the away from /his role. So yeah, that looks good. What do
If
you
you
think of my move though?
yeah, if you take a hit for that move, you've got to start Enzo because he needs to
Yeah,
reward you for
yep.
that game.
I agree. I agree. I'm gonna start him. He has to. He has to.
Yeah.
And I hope he
What do you
plays
guys
number
think?
10. Yeah. Go on.
What do you guys think for captaincy this week?
I currently have it on Salah, but it should be on Palmer because we know how poor Brentford are defensively. Kanji, on paper, Brentford are worse defense compared to Fulham, but at the same time, the game is at Anfield, and Salah at Anfield is a different beast. Plus, his form is ridiculous. He has scored in the Champions League again, so it's a close call. But I think on paper, Palmer is a better captain. But I think I might lean towards Salah just because of safety. But yeah,
Like
Bro,
ego.
but the
What do you
thing is,
think?
man, that Champions League performance, bro, like Liverpool weren't amazing in that game. I watched the game. They weren't amazing, and without that penalty, he had nothing.
yeah.
He had
No, no,
he
no, no.
was
No. He created lots of chances for Darwin. Darwin just didn't finish them.
lots of
Yeah.
chances as a stretch, bro.
No, he did. He did. He had like 3 chances. Like he should have buried at least 2, but he didn't. That's what Darwin does.
Yeah, fair enough.
Fair enough. Closing thoughts, Kanji?
Yeah, I think we're all on. I think we're all on Palmer cap, which is surprising. I thought you guys would be on Salah, to be honest.
No, I'll probably be on Salah, by the way. This is not my lock team. Obviously, tune into FPL came in to see my final lock team and if I do any other moves and whatnot. But yeah,
Yeah, for
I just
sure.
always
Yeah, you know
pick.
what?
I just think everyone should always pick who they think is going to get the most points. People should not captain someone out of fear. That's just my opinion on the game.
Yeah, just
fair
like
enough.
one last piece of advice: try your best to put Trent and Salah in your FPL team. They have lots of good double game weeks coming. Every week you don't have them, you will want them every single week. But the question to ask yourself: if you had to lose one, you gotta lose Trent. And
There's
I'm
another
not a
thing to
fan of.
mention. Sorry, Anderson and Bassi are out for Fulham, so that does make Fulham a bit more less, I guess, defensively robust. So just a key thing to mention from the chat.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you,
That's why I
Eva.
thought you guys would be on Salah cap, to be honest.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Anderson was out in the Arsenal game, and Arsenal struggled. Do you know what I'm saying? Like Saka, I don't even remember Saka doing much apart from that goal, which was offside. I think
Yep.
Robinson played pretty well against Saka. Obviously, they're not as solid, but Bassi's not Maldini. Like
Mm.
Agreed.
it's true though. Obviously they're more vulnerable without them. Not disputing that. Salah's a good captaincy at home versus that team.
Yeah. So,
Not
anyways,
For
disputing.
guys,
sure.
yep. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make
100%.
sure to
Yeah.
leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Really appreciate you guys for all the love and support. We're gonna keep on doing this. Probably there might not be another midweek podcast, but we'll try to get something out. With worst case, we'll do a space on X if you guys want to tune in. And all the best to you guys. And yeah, Kanji, thoughts?
Yeah. Love it. Yeah. Appreciate all the support, boys. Drop a comment. It means the world to us, and we'll chat. Like DMs are always open if you ever want to chat FPL.
All right, boys.
All right,
Peace
boys.
out.